For a radical updating of how America's financial sector is regulated and blaming, quote, Republican and Democratic administrations for the current regulatory mess, claiming the rules should have been changed in the 90s. Who was president then? Presumably the First Lady could have gotten the president on the phone anytime she wanted at that point, day or night. As usual, we phoned Rachel Maddow, our political analyst, host of her own program, of course, weeknights on Air America Radio. Hello.
Hi, Keith.
We have not mentioned Mr. McCain's response to these two speeches today, which is sort of priceless. The best he managed to do was he called them tax and spend Democrats. Did he not at some point oppose the Bush tax cuts that are at the heart of this as having favored the wealthy?
I remember that, John McCain.
So he's a tax and spend Republican, is he?
Well, I mean, John McCain, before he was running for president, occasionally used to say stuff that would make sense. And he's changed his mind on a lot of things, including the Bush tax cuts, which he initially said were favoring the wealthy, and now he's calling for them to be permanent and campaigning, in effect, as if he was a champion of them all along. What was interesting about his response to Obama and Clinton is that Obama and Clinton, I went through each of their speeches, the text of them, and I was circling all of the specific proposals, and I got to the point where my transcript was useless because there was a ton of specificity in it. And I think that maybe John McCain responded by just saying, tax and spend, because he didn't want to get caught out on hitting them in any of the details, because we know that he himself has admitted that he doesn't really understand the details.
Well, yeah, but how do you, when the economy seems, barring, I don't know, a global warming causing cash to fall out of the sky between now and November, it seems like the economy will vie for with a worsening situation in Iraq as the #1 issue going into the campaign, the actual campaign, whenever the Democrats stop the fratricide. How do you take a campaign and base it on this most important issue with this game plan of faith-based economy or good luck, everybody? How are you going to do that?
Yeah, and it's not just the game plan of, oh, we'll just have to see what happens. You know, we'll have to see how this all shakes out. It's not just that that's his proposed intervention, which is to do nothing. It's also what he says about how he understands how we got to be in this crisis. His explanation on his economic speech this week is he said that the reason we're in the subprime crisis is because home lenders were complacent. He also said, and I quote, because of complex financial instruments that weren't particularly well understood. So, according to Senator McCain, that's his analysis. Banks felt wrong, had nothing to do with deregulation. They just had the wrong feeling, and finances are hard. That's what he's offering in terms of his economic understanding and the proposal that he do nothing to fix any of our economic problems.
George Bailey wasn't responsible enough at the building and loan. That's what it boils down to. All right.
He had a bad feeling.
Is there any, on the politics of what we heard today from the two Democrats, is there any indication in the message that both of them had basically the same message, Obama and Clinton? Is there any suggestion that they heard the message of the Democratic Party, the majority of it at least? We'd like to see you go after the Republican rather than each other.
Yeah, I feel like I've become kind of a semi-pro listener to the news, where I'm always listening for Democratic candidates and even their surrogates to say John McCain. And every time I hear them say it, a little bell goes off in my mind, because that's what I think Democrats, anybody who has an interest in John McCain not becoming president, whether or not you support Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton or Ralph Nader or anybody else in the race, or Mike Gravel as the Libertarian, if you want John McCain to not win, you have to start hitting him now, because the default position of the press toward John McCain is so positive that unless other candidates are actively and specifically going after him all the time, his free ride takes him right to the White House.
Well, it could go down a sidetrack of Bob Dole II coming, but we'll have to see how that. It needs to be pushed.
The difference is, though, but with the way Bob Dole lost, is that he got hammered for about 7 straight months by the Democratic side. And I'm happy, and there are bells going off every time I hear them start talking about McCain. It's been a long time waiting for it, but I do think we're starting to see them both pivot that direction.
Last political subtext in New York. What was that with Mayor Bloomberg introducing Obama today?
I know. I think that he misses being in the headlines next to the words possible presidential candidate. And so this was a way to get himself back into the headlines. I really don't see a future this time around with Bloomberg making a serious run of it, but I know he likes to get those stories written about him.
He'll be in the news a lot if he endorsed, I'm sure of that. Rachel Maddow of MSNBC and Air America, always a pleasure. Thank you.
Keith.